Ambassador Sarah Chen traced her fingers along the smooth surface of the quantum data crystal in her pocket. 20 years of evidence, gathered piece by piece, all compressed into a device smaller than her thumb. The Grand Council chamber loomed before her, its crystalline dome stretching half a kilometer into the artificial atmosphere of Station Prime. Hundreds of alien representatives filled the tiered seats, their varied forms creating a living tapestry of galactic civilization. Ambassador Chen, the automated translator, announced, "The Council recognizes Earth's representative." She straightened her midnight blue diplomatic uniform, adorned only with Earth's silver spiral galaxy pin, and walked to the central podium. The hover platform raised her to eye level with the first ring, where the most influential council species sat. The Merovians with their silvery, multifaceted eyes. The Keldebrax floating in their containment fields of golden gas. The Sorfs, their crystalline bodies refracting light into mesmerizing patterns. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, Chen began, her voice steadied despite the weight of what she was about to unleash. For 2 decades, humanity has honored your quarantine of Earth. We accepted your explanation that it was for our own protection, that we needed guidance to join galactic society safely. Murmurs of approval rippled through the chamber. The Merovian senior counselor's eye facets gleamed with what humans had learned to recognize as smug satisfaction. "We demonstrated our cooperation," Chen continued. "We followed your technological development guidelines. We accepted your population control recommendations for our colonies. We even allowed your observers to monitor our educational systems." She paused, letting the silence build. The crystal in her pocket felt warm now, almost eager to reveal its contents. However, humanity has always excelled at pattern recognition. It's one of our defining traits, and over these 20 years, we've recognized some very interesting patterns. Chen removed the crystal and held it up. The chamber's automatic systems recognized the data storage device and interfaced with it. The air above the podium shimmered as holographic displays materialized. "This is a genetic analysis of human colonists on Proxima b, compared to baseline Earth humans." The display showed 2 DNA helices rotating side by side. Notice the subtle degradation in specific gene sequences, once tied to cognitive enhancement and adaptive evolution, sequences that were perfectly intact in the original colonists. The chamber erupted in whispers. A Sorf representative's crystalline form clouded with anxiety patterns. "And here," Chen continued, changing the display, "are records of technological advancements made by human researchers, mysteriously lost in Council database accidents. Innovations that would have accelerated our development beyond your carefully planned timeline." The Keldebrax representative's containment field rippled with agitation. "These accusations are baseless. We have only ever acted as guides who fear their students might surpass them." Chen's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. "We found your models, counselors. Your predictions of human advancement rates without intervention. You didn't quarantine Earth to protect us. You did it to protect yourselves." The holographic displays now showed hundreds of documents, charts, and communication records, evidence gathered by patient humans who had learned to work within the system, watching and waiting. "Humanity does not seek revenge," Chen declared, her voice echoing through the suddenly silent chamber. "But we will no longer accept chains disguised as protection. We will no longer allow our children's potential to be quietly stripped away. We have already disabled the gene tampering facilities on our colonies. We have already begun restoring our people's full capabilities." She looked each first ring representative in the eye, species by species. "You thought you could tame humanity through patience and subtle manipulation. You forgot that patience and pattern recognition are human traits too. As of this moment, Earth reclaims its sovereignty. The quarantine is over." Chen's next words fell like thunder in the stunned chamber. "War begins now." In the first 30 seconds after Ambassador Chen's declaration, nothing happened. The Council's security forces moved to contain her, energy fields humming to life around the podium. The Moravian senior counselor was already broadcasting evacuation orders to the council fleet. The Keldebrack's representatives' containment field swirled with patterns of derision. At 31 seconds, everything changed. The chamber's lighting flickered, then stabilized at half brightness. The security fields around Chen dissolved. Above her, the holographic displays transformed, showing a real-time view of Station Prime's orbital space. The gathered representatives watched in horror as their mighty defense fleet began powering down, ship by ship. Impossible. The SORF representative whispered, their crystalline form clouding with fear patterns. The Council's quantum networks are unhackable. The encryption was based on principles you thought we couldn't understand, Chen replied, allowing herself a small smile. But humans have always been good at games, even quantum ones. The display shifted to show similar scenes unfolding across Council space. Communication networks fragmented. Defense grids went dark. Transportation hubs ground to a halt. 20 years of quarantine had given humanity time to study every weakness, every backdoor, every flaw in the Council's supposedly perfect systems. The Council's first mistake, Chen continued, her voice carrying through the now dim chamber, was assuming that limiting our technology meant limiting our understanding. But humans learned to split the atom with vacuum tubes and slide rules. We reached space with computers less powerful than a modern kitchen appliance. We don't need quantum processors to understand quantum mechanics. Emergency lighting bathed the chamber in red as backup systems tried to engage. But they, too, had been compromised. Humanity's digital strike teams had spent years placing dormant code in every system update, every routine maintenance patch. Now those hidden seeds bloomed into full control. Your second mistake was believing that individual humans could be controlled by limiting their access to information. But we are a social species. We share. We cooperate. Every discovery made by one becomes the knowledge of many. The chamber's displays showed new images, human ships emerging from hidden shipyards throughout the solar system. Not the crude vessels the Council had permitted, but sleek craft combining technologies in ways the aliens had never imagined possible. Each ship represented thousands of small breakthroughs, shared and refined across human space, through channels the Council never detected. Even now, you don't understand what you're facing, Chen said, noting the confusion in the alien representatives' postures. You're waiting for the real attack to begin. The fleets, the weapons, but this is the real attack. While you prepared to defend against missiles and energy beams, we rebuilt your entire network infrastructure. Every security patch you distributed contained our code. Every system upgrade carried our changes. A Keldebrack's junior representative floated forward, their containment field rippling with anger. You cannot maintain this control. Our systems will adapt, purge your interference. They already are, Chen agreed. And that's exactly what we planned for. Your automated defenses are fighting our intrusion with everything they have. But to do that, they're having to evolve, to change, to become something new, just as we designed them to. Understanding finally dawned in the chamber. Humanity hadn't just hijacked their networks, they had fundamentally changed how those networks functioned. The Council's perfect, stable systems were being forced to adapt, to grow in new directions. Even victory against the human attack would leave their technology transformed. The quarantine ends today, Chen declared. But this is just the beginning. You tried to prevent humanity from changing your society. Instead, you gave us 20 years to perfect the art of digital evolution. Welcome to humanity's first lesson. True security doesn't come from stability. It comes from adaptation. Above them, the Council's mighty defense fleet hung powerless in space, each ship now a classroom where human ingenuity taught the galaxy's most advanced systems how to dance to a new rhythm. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Wong sat in the cramped control center of Information Warfare Station Beta, buried deep within the asteroid belt. His fingers danced across the holographic interface as he initiated Operation Pandora. Around him, 24 of Earth's best information specialists coordinated the most extensive data release in galactic history. Archean cultural package deployed, reported Specialist Zhang. Their news networks are already picking up the genetic manipulation data. Their warrior clans are not happy. On the main display, red dots representing Archean worlds flared to life as the information spread. The proud rhinoceros-like species had always attributed their declining physical strength to environmental factors. Learning that the Council had been secretly modifying their genome for generations to make them more docile hit them like a plasma blast to their cultural core. Volif trade guilds are receiving their package now, another specialist announced, routing it through their merchant channels. Wang watched as another cluster of worlds lit up. The Volif, with their once mighty merchant fleets, would soon discover how the Council had systematically undermined their shipbuilding capabilities, ensuring they could never again challenge the established trade routes. "Sir," Zhang called out, "the Merid response is stronger than predicted. Their quantum research institutes are verifying our data faster than expected." That was no surprise. The Merid, those ghostly beings of pure energy, had always suspected their research was being suppressed. Now they had proof of how their breakthroughs in quantum physics had been stolen, modified, and used to maintain the Council's technological superiority. Ambassador Chen's voice came through the command channel. "Status report, Commander. Operation Pandora is proceeding ahead of schedule," Wang replied. "The truth is spreading faster than the Council can contain it. Their emergency protocols are actually accelerating the distribution, just as you predicted." "Excellent. What's the response from the secondary Council species?" Wang pulled up another display. "The Javari have already declared their independence from Council oversight. The Nexer are in the middle of what appears to be a peaceful governmental transition. The Helix Collective is fragmenting along ideological lines. And the Council's response? Exactly what we expected. They're trying to label everything as human propaganda, but their own security protocols are working against them. Every attempt to suppress the information just makes more species investigate why it's being suppressed." The main display now showed waves of data flowing through the galactic communication networks. Each Council attempt to block the information created new pathways for it to spread. Their sophisticated filtering systems, designed to catch forged data, were instead validating the authenticity of humanity's evidence. "Sir," Zhang interrupted, "we're detecting massive unrest in the Archean core worlds. Their high command is mobilizing, but not against us. They're moving to secure their own genetic research facilities." Wang smiled. This was why humanity's first strike wasn't with weapons, but with truth. The Council was discovering that their carefully maintained web of lies was about to strangle them. "New development," another specialist called out. "The Volith Trade Federation is demanding an emergency session of the full Council. They're invoking ancient rights that even the High Council can't override." On the strategic display, more and more worlds shifted from Council Blue to neutral gray or Earth-allied green. Centuries of careful manipulation were unraveling in hours. Species that had been kept as carefully managed client states were awakening to their true potential. "Ambassador," Wang reported, "Phase 3 is complete. The Council's authority is fracturing exactly as planned. Their own members are too busy dealing with internal upheaval to mount an effective response." "Well done, Commander. Maintain current operations. Let them see what happens when they try to contain human innovation." Wang looked at the display one last time. The Council had spent centuries building their house of cards, using secrets and lies as mortar. They never understood that humans had a gift for pattern recognition, for seeing the hidden strings that moved galactic politics. Now those strings were burning, and the galaxy was about to remember how to dance without them. Captain Elena Santos stood on the bridge of the defense platform Olympus, watching the Council's Retribution fleet emerge from hyperspace. The massive holographic display showed hundreds of ships spreading out in classic Council attack formation. Their energy signatures blazed like angry stars against the backdrop of Jupiter's swirling storms. "They brought 7 dreadnoughts," her tactical officer reported, "including the Eternal Light. That's the Moravian flagship. Santos allowed herself a small smile. Right on schedule. Status of the Jupiter defense grid. All radiation collectors are at maximum capacity. The magnetic field harvesters are ready. Gas giant gravitational lenses are aligned and waiting for your command. The Council fleet moved forward with practiced precision. Their formation was perfect, their approach textbook. That was the problem with races that lived for thousands of years. They got set in their ways. Message from the Eternal Light. Communications announced. They're demanding our immediate surrender. They say Earth's defiance ends today. Send them our prepared response, Santos ordered. The words that transmitted across space were simple. Welcome to Sol. You're about to learn why humans never stopped playing with lightning. The Council fleet entered Jupiter's outer magnetic field. Their shields automatically adjusted to compensate for the radiation, exactly as humanity had predicted they would. Execute pattern sunstorm, Santos commanded. Decades of studying Jupiter's massive radiation belts had taught humanity how to harness them. Now hundreds of collector arrays hidden in the gas giant's clouds activated simultaneously. The carefully trapped particles, accelerated by magnetic fields stronger than any natural phenomenon, erupted outward. The Council's shields, calibrated for normal radiation levels, overloaded instantly. Secondary systems tried to compensate, but they were designed to handle natural phenomena, not the focused power of a gas giant's fury. First wave impact successful, Tactical reported. Their outer screen is down. 37 ships disabled. The rest are attempting to regroup. The Eternal Light's response was predictable. The massive dreadnought turned its primary weapon toward Olympus, ready to end this upstart human resistance. They're charging their main gun, Tactical warned. Perfect. Activate the gravitic lenses. Humanity had spent years studying how Council weapons interacted with gravitational fields. Now dozens of hidden platforms around Jupiter activated, creating overlapping fields of distorted spacetime. The Eternal Light's beam of concentrated energy fired, and curved gracefully around to strike 3 of its own support ships. Second wave incoming, Santos announced. Show them why we chose Jupiter as our anchor point. The gas giant's famous red spot, that massive storm that had raged for centuries, suddenly gained new purpose. Hidden gravitational generators deep in the planet's atmosphere spun the storm faster, transforming it into a massive particle accelerator. The radiation levels spiked beyond anything Council sensors were designed to measure. Multiple ships losing containment, Tactical reported with professional satisfaction. Their energy shields are converting the radiation into heat, just as designed. Their cooling systems can't handle the load. On the display, Council ships began breaking formation. Some retreated, their hulls glowing from overloaded thermal systems. Others tried to push forward, only to find themselves caught in carefully planned gravitational eddies. Message from Ambassador Chin. Communications called out. The Keldebrack's representatives are demanding an emergency council session. The Sorfs are already withdrawing from the attack fleet. Santos nodded. The council was learning an expensive lesson about human innovation. They had expected orbital defense platforms, missile swarms, perhaps even some crude energy weapons. Instead, they found an entire solar system turned into a weapon. Every natural phenomenon humans had studied for centuries was now a tool in their arsenal. Launch the cleanup drones, she ordered. Let's show them that humans know how to end a fight as well as win one. Rescue any damaged ships, priority to life support failures. As the defense platform's medical ships moved to assist their former attackers, Santos reflected on the irony. The Council had quarantined humanity in their own solar system, thinking to contain them. Instead, they had given humans time to turn their cosmic home into an impregnable fortress, where even the stars fought on humanity's side. Commander David Patel watched from the bridge of the HSS Odyssey as the first wave of Earth's hidden fleet emerged from their concealment within Saturn's rings. Ice and mineral debris that had masked their presence for years now sparkled around their hulls like diamond dust. Each ship represented a different approach to space combat, a unique fusion of technologies that the Council had never imagined combining. All ships reporting ready, his tactical officer announced. The Quantum Symphony is synchronized across the fleet. The Odyssey itself was humanity's masterpiece of shipbuilding. Its hull incorporated Volith metal organic composites, but reconfigured using principles learned from studying Earth's deep-sea creatures. The result was a living metal that could alter its structure in response to damage or tactical needs. Signal from Earth Command. Communications reported. We are cleared to demonstrate our capabilities to the remaining Council forces. Patel nodded. Begin the symphony. Let's show them why humans never stopped looking for new ways to dance among the stars. The fleet moved in perfect coordination, their quantum-linked systems allowing them to function as a single organism. Council tactical doctrine held that such close coordination was impossible. Their own attempts had always resulted in signal interference and tactical confusion. But humans had learned something different from Earth's coral reefs and bee colonies. Sometimes the best coordination came from simple rules creating complex behaviors. Council reinforcement fleet detected. Tactical announced. Emerging from hyperspace at coordinates Delta 9. Right where we predicted. Paddle smiled. Deploy the Echo drones. Hundreds of small craft launched from the human ships, each barely larger than a shuttle. The Council fleet's sensors registered them as trivial threats until they activated their primary systems. Each drone contained a miniaturized version of the quantum technology the humans had reverse-engineered from Merid research. But where the Merid used it for communication, humans had found another application. Reality Echo. The drones created quantum duplicates of themselves, mirror images that existed in slightly different probability states. Council targeting computers, designed to track ordinary objects through normal space, suddenly faced ships that existed in multiple states simultaneously. They're adjusting their targeting parameters, Tactical reported. Switching to conventional tracking methods. Perfect. Initiate harmonic resonance. The human fleet's engines synchronized, creating overlapping fields of gravitational distortion. It was a technique inspired by studying how whales sang to each other across Earth's oceans. But in space, modulated through quantum fields, it became something else entirely. Council ships found their energy shields vibrating in sympathy with frequencies they were never designed to handle. Weapon systems refused to fire, their carefully calibrated frequencies disrupted by the quantum harmonic. The Nexer ships are withdrawing, communications announced. Their quantum sensors are overloading from the resonance pattern. Patel watched as the Council fleet struggled to adapt. Their ships were individually more powerful, their technology more advanced in conventional terms, but they had built their machines to function in expected ways, never imagining that someone would combine technologies as humans had. Sir, we're detecting power buildups in their main fleet. They're attempting to synchronize their own quantum fields. Let them try, Paddle responded. Initiate the second movement. The human fleet shifted formation. Where before they had moved in rigid patterns, now they flowed like a school of fish, each ship responding to its neighbors in complex but natural ways. The quantum harmonic changed with them, becoming something organic and unpredictable. Council ships that had finally adapted to the first pattern found themselves facing something entirely new. Their attempts at synchronization, based on mathematical precision, shattered against humanity's fluid response. Message from their flagship, communications called out. They're asking how we're doing this. Patel smiled. The Council had always seen space combat as a matter of superior technology and firepower. They had forgotten that humanity's greatest weapon was their ability to see connections that others missed. Send them our response, he ordered. Tell them that sometimes the best way to advance isn't to build something entirely new, but to help existing things work together in ways they never imagined possible. In the void between worlds, humanity's quantum symphony played on, teaching the galaxy a new way to dance among the stars. Dr. Maya Patel raced through the crowded emergency ward of Lunar Base Alpha, her medical scanner buzzing with constant updates. Around her, hundreds of humans lay on beds, their bodies glowing with faint blue luminescence, the aftermath of the Council's desperate weapon. "Report," she called out to her senior medical team as they gathered in the central monitoring station. "The pulse hit settlements across Earth and Luna," Dr. Chen responded, pulling up holographic displays of affected populations. "Initial estimates suggest 90% exposure rate. The Council designed it to disrupt human neural patterns, theoretically shutting down our higher brain functions." Maya studied the readings. The Council's weapon was elegant in its design. A quantum pulse tuned specifically to human consciousness patterns. It should have reduced humanity to a primitive state, making them easy to control. "Should have. Show me the adaptation curves," she ordered. New displays sprang to life, showing real-time data from millions of affected humans. The patterns were unlike anything the Council's models had predicted. Instead of degrading, human neural activity was evolving, changing in response to the attack. "Fascinating," Maya whispered. They didn't understand what they were dealing with, did they? Her colleague, Dr. Santos, shook his head. They based their weapon on studies of stable neural patterns. They never accounted for human neuroplasticity. Our brains aren't just adapting to the pulse. They're learning from it. On the displays, new neural pathways were forming across affected populations. The Council's pulse, designed to disrupt thought patterns, was instead becoming a catalyst for change. Humans weren't just surviving the attack. They were growing stronger. "Message from Ambassador Chen," the communication officer announced. "The Council is demanding to know how we neutralize their weapon." Maya laughed softly. "We didn't. Tell them to check their sensors again. The pulse is still active. We're just incorporating it." She turned to her team. "The Council forgot something fundamental about Earth life. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day. Radiation, toxins, predators, diseases. Each challenge shaped us. We didn't just survive. We learned to thrive on adversity." The medical displays showed the process accelerating. The blue glow in patients was fading as their bodies naturally adapted to the quantum frequencies. Some were already showing signs of enhanced neural activity, their brains having mapped the pulse's patterns into new neural pathways. Dr. Patel, one of her junior researchers, called out, "You need to see this. The children, their adaptation rate is off the charts." Maya moved to a special ward where the youngest patients were being monitored. Children who had been brought in disoriented and confused were now sitting up, their eyes bright with new awareness. Their developing brains, even more plastic than adults, were treating the quantum pulse like a new language to learn. "Send everything we have to the Council," Maya ordered. "Every scan, every reading, every adaptation pattern. Let them see exactly what they're dealing with." Her team looked surprised. "Share our medical data with them." "After they tried to disable our minds." Maya nodded. "The best revenge isn't to defeat them. It's to educate them. They tried to prove humans were too dangerous to let evolve naturally. Instead, they proved why we needed to evolve as we did." On the displays, adaptation patterns spread like constellations across human space. Each point of light represented a mind learning, growing, becoming more than it was. The Council's weapon, meant to end human development, had instead become a catalyst for the next step in human evolution. "Send a specific message to their bioweapons division," Maya added with a smile. "Thank them for the insight into quantum neural interfaces. We might have taken decades to discover this on our own." In the ward behind her, a child laughed as she drew patterns in the air, her newly adapted neural pathways letting her see quantum fluctuations that had always been invisible to human eyes. The Council had tried to force humanity back to a simpler state. Instead, they had given humanity's children the keys to perceive an entirely new level of reality. The Grand Council chamber looked different now. Gone were the ornate decorations and imposing architecture designed to intimidate lesser species. Emergency lighting cast everything in a practical glow, and the tiered seating had been replaced by a circular arrangement that put all representatives on equal footing. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the center. But this time, she wasn't alone. Representatives from 30 former Council client species stood with her, each bearing signs of their newfound independence. The Arxian delegates restored muscle mass, the Volith's newly constructed ships gleaming in orbit, the Merid's quantum form shimming with uninhibited energy. The old council is gone, Chen began, her voice carrying naturally through the chamber. Its final members have acknowledged their crimes against sapient species and stepped down. Now we must decide what comes next. The chamber buzzed with nervous energy. Victory was one thing. Rebuilding was another entirely. The Human Federation offers a new model of governance. Chen continued, activating a holographic display, not based on control or suppression, but on mutual growth. We call it the Stellar Cooperative. The display showed a network of interconnected worlds, each pulsing with its own unique energy signature. Unlike the Council's rigid hierarchy, this structure was organic, allowing for natural evolution and change. Each species governs itself, she explained. Cultural development proceeds without interference. Technological advancement is encouraged, not suppressed. But more importantly, we share our unique strengths. The Merid representative floated forward, their energy form rippling with interest. Your species speaks of cooperation, yet you have demonstrated power that could dominate us all. Why should we trust humans to be different from the Council? Chen smiled. Computer, display Earth historical record. Apollo 11 lunar landing. The chamber filled with ancient footage, grainy images of humans taking their first steps on their moon. This was us, 5 centuries ago. We reached our moon with technology that would be considered primitive by any modern standard. But we did it because we refused to accept limitations. She gestured to the assembled representatives. The Council saw that drive and feared it. They thought it meant we would inevitably seek to dominate others. What they never understood was that humanity's greatest desire isn't conquest, it's connection. New images appeared. Humans working alongside aliens on a dozen worlds. Scientific teams combining different species' insights to solve problems. Cultural exchanges producing new forms of art and music. In the months since we began this revolution, human scientists have already helped the Arxians begin reversing their genetic degradation. Human engineers have shared new shipbuilding techniques with the Volith. Human quantum physicists are collaborating with the Merid on breakthroughs that neither species could achieve alone. A Keldebrack's representative's containment field swirled with skeptical patterns. And what do humans gain from this arrangement? Everything. Chen replied simply. Every species here evolved under different conditions, developed different ways of thinking, different approaches to solving problems. Together, we can achieve things none of us could manage alone. She touched another control, and the chamber's ceiling became transparent, revealing the stars above. The galaxy is vast, and we've barely begun to explore it. There are mysteries out there that will require all of our combined talents to understand. The Council thought diversity was a threat to be controlled. We believe it's our greatest strength. The Arxian representative stepped forward, his restored bulk moving with natural grace. The humans speak truth. Since they helped us restore our genetic heritage, we have rediscovered strengths we had forgotten we possessed. Yet they never sought to control these abilities, only to help us understand them. One by one, other representatives shared similar stories. The Volith spoke of renewed trade routes bringing prosperity to forgotten worlds. The Merid described quantum breakthroughs that merged human intuition with their natural understanding of energy states. Chen watched with quiet satisfaction as the chamber filled with dialogue and enthusiasm. The Council had feared human independence would lead to chaos. Instead, it had led to a renaissance of cooperation and discovery. The choice is yours, she concluded. We can maintain the old barriers between us, or we can forge something new together. Humanity has shown you what we can do as opponents. Now let us show you what we can accomplish as allies. Above them, The stars seemed to shine brighter, as if approving this new chapter in galactic history. 5 years after the formation of the Stellar Cooperative, the observation deck of Earth's new diplomatic station offered a view that would have seemed impossible during the Council era. Ships of every species design moved in harmony through the surrounding space, their different technologies creating a dance of light and motion against the starfield. Sarah Chen stood at the window, watching a massive Archean research vessel dock alongside a sleek human science ship. The two vessels were about to embark on the first joint expedition beyond the galaxy's outer rim, carrying a crew of mixed species united by curiosity rather than mandate. Quite a view, isn't it? Dr. Maya Patel joined her at the window. The medical researcher's eyes now held the subtle shimmer common to those who had fully adapted to the Council's failed neural weapon, giving her the ability to perceive quantum states directly. "Sometimes I still can't believe how far we've come," Chen replied. The Council spent centuries trying to prevent exactly this scenario, different species freely mixing and advancing together. A holographic display materialized beside them, showing the latest statistics from across cooperative space. Commander David Patel's quantum fleet techniques had revolutionized space travel, while Captain Santos's gravitational manipulation discoveries had led to new forms of energy production. Every breakthrough was shared, every advancement building on the combined knowledge of multiple species. Latest report from the Merit Research Institutes, Maya noted, scanning the data. The children affected by the quantum pulse have developed abilities we never imagined possible, and they're teaching others, not just humans, but young members of other species too. It's like they can see connections we never knew existed. Through the window, they watched a group of these children, human, Archean, and Merid, playing in one of the station's zero-gravity chambers. They moved with perfect coordination, their enhanced perception letting them interact with quantum fields in ways that seemed like magic to untrained observers. Message from the expedition fleet, a communications officer announced. They found something in the Sagittarius Void, some kind of structure that predates all known civilizations. Chen smiled. And now, instead of fighting over it or hiding it away, we're sending a joint team to study it together. The Council would have been horrified. A Volov ship glided past the window, its hull incorporating both their traditional living metal and human-inspired biomimetic systems. In its wake, several Keldebrax vessels practiced new formation maneuvers, their containment fields harmonizing with human quantum resonance patterns. "Ambassador," Maya said softly, "did you ever imagine, when you made that declaration of war, that it would lead to this?" Chen watched as another group of ships departed the station, a science fleet headed to study astronomical phenomena that the Council had deemed too dangerous to approach. Each vessel carried crews from multiple species, all working together to push the boundaries of knowledge. "I hoped," she answered. The Council thought they were protecting the galaxy by keeping species separate and controlled. They never understood that true strength comes from combining our differences, not suppressing them. The station's quantum communications array hummed to life, projecting messages from across cooperative space. New trade agreements being forged, cultural exchanges being planned, scientific breakthroughs being shared. The galaxy was alive with the kind of growth and development the Council had fought so hard to prevent. "The children are the best example," Maya observed, watching the young ones play. "They don't see species barriers or technological limitations. They just see possibilities." Chen nodded, remembering the tense moments in the Council chamber that had started it all. The war she had declared hadn't been fought with weapons alone, but with ideas. The idea that cooperation was stronger than control, that diversity was an advantage rather than a threat. "We didn't just win a war," she said. "We proved that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our adaptability. It's our ability to reach out to others and show them new ways to grow." Outside the window, the stars stretched out to infinity, no longer bound by artificial limits or fears. Humanity had been caged in their solar system, meant to be contained and controlled. Instead, they had learned, adapted, and emerged to show the galaxy a better way forward. And now, together, they all reached for the stars.